Hey guys, this is Frank from Altcoin Buzz, and I hope you guys are having a better day than Arthur Hayes or any of the other people indicted in this case against Bitmex, because they are certainly not having a good time. US charges Bitmex cryptocurrency founders with failing to prevent money laundering. So we're going to have a look at this news. We're going to see the response from Bitmex. We're going to see how big of a deal this actually is, comparing Bitmex's volume to the other exchanges. We're also going to go over the double standards here because, of course, traditional finance has been involved in money laundering for a long time, and they do not get prosecuted in the same way. We're going to talk about the withdrawals, which, of course, is what is on everyone's mind. Will people get their money from Bitmex? And then we're going to go over some other opinions about this, how big this news really is. And of course, we will finish off with the price of Bitcoin, which fell several percentage points, but has since recovered. If you enjoy this content and want to see more of it, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification button, as it really helps to support the channel. Before I get started, I just want to let you know that I am not a financial advisor and that trading and investing presents financial risks. So US prosecutors on Thursday filed criminal charges accusing 4 founders and executives of Bitmex, one of the world's largest cryptocurrency derivatives exchanges. So they're charging them with violating the Federal Bank Secrecy Act and conspiring to violate that law. Hayes, 34, of Buffalo, New York and Hong Kong, is chief executive of Bitmex, while Reed is its technology officer. So Arthur Hayes here on his Twitter profile actually hasn't posted in the last couple of days, so we don't know any updates from him personally. And Reed, as we will shortly find out, has in fact been arrested. So an indictment filed in Manhattan federal court said the defendants flouted their obligation to implement an anti-money laundering program with a know your customer requirement, which they knew was needed because Bitmex served US customers. Their steps allegedly included incorporating Bitmex in the Seychelles because of its seemingly less stringent regulations, and where Hayes once bragged it would cost less to bribe authorities just a coconut than in the United States. In any case, each count carries a maximum 5-year prison term, and Reed, as I mentioned, was arrested in Massachusetts, and the other defendants are still at large. So in response, Bitmex responded just a couple of hours ago, "We strongly disagree with the US government's heavy-handed decision to bring these charges and intend to defend the allegations vigorously. From our early days as a startup, we have always sought to comply with the applicable US laws, as those laws were understood at the time and based on available guidance." In the meantime, the Bitmex platform is operating entirely as normal and all funds are safe. To allay any potential customer concerns, pending withdrawal requests were processed at 5:45 UTC in line with our standard procedures. We will process another off-cycle withdrawal at 8 a.m. UTC, 2nd October 2020, and then again at 1 p.m. UTC as usual. So Bitmex process withdrawals every 24 hours, but in order to assure their users that the funds are safe, they've actually processed this off-cycle withdrawal, which I think is very good news. It certainly alleviates concerns about this affecting the market. Now, how big of a deal is this really for the cryptocurrency market? Bitmex's receding market share might have spared Bitcoiners a bigger sell-off. This is according to CoinDesk, although I got this article from nakamotonews.network. So first of all, as you can see from this chart, they had a lot of buy and sell liquidations back in 2019, but in 2020, those volumes are significantly lower, apart from, of course, the spike in March, which led to the massive Bitcoin drop-off. Now, this is interesting. 2 years ago, this would have been catastrophic because Bitmex was such a huge percentage of everybody who's playing leveraged trading. David Weisberger, co-founder and CEO of CoinRoots Incorporated, said in a phone interview. Now there are quite a few alternatives to Bitmex, and several of them have always been more stringent about trading or not allowing US clients to trade on those platforms. So as previously mentioned, you have Binance US, which is for the US users, and this hopefully will prevent them from having the same type of indictment that Bitmex had. So as you can see here, Binance are in first place in terms of the exchange 24-hour Bitcoin futures volumes, Huobi are in second place, OKex are in third place, and Bitmex are in fourth place. So it's definitely, honestly, I think it's a great sign because Bitcoin, it really only fell several percentage points, about 4%. It's already recovered. I mean, if this had happened, as you mentioned, if this had happened 2 years ago, this would have been massive for the Bitcoin price. It would have dropped much more significantly. So despite the fact this is bad news, I think it's good news. It reminds us how mature the cryptocurrency industry is and how resilient it is to even one major exchange going down. And even if Binance went down, you can see that Huobi and OKex, they have basically the same amount of volume as Binance does. So I really like to see this graph showing that, there is competition and that there's not just one exchange which makes the whole cryptocurrency industry vulnerable. Now, this makes me really angry and it's so frustrating. It shows what's wrong with the world, basically. DOJ refused to prosecute HSBC for money laundering. That's the Department of Justice. But now they have arrested Bitmex founder for the same thing. While we all agree that Bitmex was shady, why the double standards? Prosecute the crooked bankers too. So according to Bitcoin magazine here, no one was arrested for the 08 financial crisis. No one was arrested for the Wells Fargo grift. No one was arrested for the FinCEN files. No one was arrested for the JP Morgan metals spoofing. Those were scams that hurt people. Bitmex is a product people love and use. Jail. So as you can see, there are clearly double standards, especially when it comes to traditional finance versus alternative finance. Now, of course, the Bitcoin price fell quite dramatically, but what I think made it recover so quickly is this. Word on the street is that Bitmex is processing withdrawals right now out of normal processing hours to prove funds are seifu. So I haven't seen any tweets of people actually confirming their withdrawal, but it appears as though withdrawals can still be made from the Bitmex exchange. Now, how big of a deal is this really? Here, a tweet from Don Alt. People acting like the recent Bitmex drama isn't a big deal are underestimating the situation, I think. High-profile members of an industry possibly going to jail for something that almost everyone else in the industry also practices is unlikely to be a nothing burger, in my opinion. Now, certainly it's true that them going to jail is not great and it doesn't reflect well on the industry. However, as I mentioned before, it's very much a mature industry now, and also the other exchanges do have, for the most part, the major exchanges do not allow US customers, or they have branches which are specifically for US customers. So he's not doing exactly the same thing as everyone else in the industry, Arthur Hayes and Bitmex. They are especially unregulated without the AML and the KYC requirements. So, it is worthy to note that this might still be bad if they go to jail. But overall, I think the industry is mature enough for this not to affect the Bitcoin price too heavily. And in terms of Bitcoin price, well, we'll go into it in a bit more detail in a bit. But in general, it just doesn't look like that big of a deal so far. And here from Espresso Crypto, Bitmex is far from the first cryptocurrency company to be suspected of facilitating criminal activity, but it is the largest and most established exchange to face criminal charges. So, it's interesting. On the one hand, this is not good news. On the other hand, if the Bitcoin price, stays so steady based on this news, then it just shows that, despite it being the largest exchange to face criminal charges, it just isn't such a big deal because it's not the only exchange. There are a range of other exchanges. Okay, so coming now to the Bitcoin chart, as you can see on the daily time frame, it just looks like business as usual. There's really almost nothing to be concerned about here. We have this blue line, which actually represents previous highs and lows here. We haven't even closed below this line. Still 15 minutes to go on the daily time frame. We didn't break any important supports, and really, honestly, we only fell several percentage points. So as you can see, this news was probably released here when this volume started, and we fell almost 4% and have been recovering quite quickly since. I personally think it's probably because of the news that the funds were safe and that people could withdraw. So I don't really think that this news is going to create a further downfall in price. I mean, obviously, in general, Bitcoin could fall anyway, but the fact that we fell and we're already recovering here, and we don't have another drastic fall, and the fact that this news was already, well, it's already about 8 hours old now, all the, since it first came out on social media and everywhere. So I just don't think it's that big a deal. Sure, we might see some further moves down, but really, you know, the market reacts very quickly to this type of news. And the fact that we've recovered already, I think it's honestly, I think it's good news for Bitcoin and the whole cryptocurrency industry in general. All right, guys, that's been it from me for today. Don't forget to check into altcoinbuzz.io. We provide you guys with a lot of the altcoin news. And with that being said, guys, I will see you in the next one.